Hi everyone, it's Tom here. I've got another album review for you today. I'm going to review Daughter's new album, their comeback album, You Won't Get What You Want. Where do I even begin? In 2009 they released a self-titled album, which was pretty fantastic. I didn't know of its existence back then, but around 6 months ago I discovered their material. The first material that I discovered by this band was Canada Songs, which is, if you know Daughters, that's their least accessible album by quite a considerable mile. It's an 11-minute album which features noodly guitars, crazy erratic vocals that just screaming constantly, songs that are about a minute in length. So in a nutshell, just crazy all over the place. And their second album, Hell Songs, which I love a lot more, came out 3 years later and featured more cleanly sung vocals, longer songs, longer album, but still only 23 minutes in length. But also experimenting at the same time, you know, adding to the sound, diversifying and all that. And like I've said, the third album is brilliant. It's a landmark album in noise rock in my opinion. So they break up in 2009, and then out of the blue they just come back in 2018 with a single titled Satan in the Wait. And I came across this just a few days after the single was released, and I was like, oh, okay, they've just come back after 9 years. What a coincidence that I've only just discovered them 4 months ago or whatever. So I listened to the song, and when I first heard it, I thought it was really great. The new change in sound, the direction they were going in was pretty good, you know, kind of going to that unsettling, repetitive vibe, tension building, creepy, dark. Lyrics a bit more subdued than they were, but still erratic in some places. I mean, compared to their self-titled anyway, I'm not comparing this to their first album at all. But over time, this single grew on me, and I couldn't put my finger on why. And coming up to about a month ago, I declared it as the song of the year, because for some reason it grew on me so much to the point where I just listened to it constantly, and I didn't know why. The chorus, the way that the chorus makes me feel, the melody, the guitars, the eeriness, the spreading gloom of the track, it just catches me and it sticks, and it's a feeling I can't describe, it's an emotion that I can't describe. So that brings me on to the album. So how did Daughters deliver on this album? This is one of the best albums I have ever listened to. Honestly, one of the most incredible experiences I've ever listened to in music. It's in my top 5, okay? I haven't slept last night. It leaked last night. I'm recording this the day after it leaked. I've listened to it non-stop. And I know it's a grower of an album, I know that. But I couldn't stop listening to it. I just could not stop. And I knew exactly why. And this is what this video is all about, for me to tell you why this album is so amazing. The performances on every single song on this album are absolutely flawless. So visceral, so emotional, so much anger. There's an underlying beauty to all this darkness and creepiness and settling vibes it gives you. There's this constant emphasis on repetition during some of these longer stretched out songs, and there's this uneery feeling, and sometimes eerie feeling you get when listening to it as the tension builds and builds and builds. The performances are so wild, so subdued at times, sarcastic, just angry, funny, sexy. I've run out of words to describe the performances, and that's just the performances. I haven't even gotten into the details of the song yet, right? The first track on the album, City Song, starts off the album perfectly. Of course I was going to say that. It starts with this noisy build-up, and it just booming out your ears, just constantly repetition for about 2 minutes. And then the singer Alexis starts putting towards this creepy vibe, building a tension, and you don't know when this is going to explode, or if it's going to explode or not, at least on the first listen anyway. And the sounds that they're bringing to the table are new, Some come from like their sound catalogue from previous albums, but some sounds are new and they are really, really something special. But when this song reaches that point where it explodes, my jaw dropped. My jaw literally dropped. It's ecstasy. It literally destroyed my mind in the best way possible. And it's such a great opening song. It's about 5 minutes long. Next song, Long Road No Turns. This was released as a single. It was the third single that was released, and I loved it straight away. And obviously I've listened to it plenty of times before the release of the album and after. Technically the album hasn't been released at this point. I will say now that I am going to buy this thing on vinyl. I'm probably going to buy it on CD as well. I'm probably going to buy posters and merch because this thing is legendary. Let me continue. Long Road No Turns kind of sounds like a hybrid between like a Song of the Seer by Swans, that album, bringing like a carnival like aesthetic to the song, building that intensity, and the vocal performances are so wild. The guitars are all over the place, screeching and just shooting behind your ears, and it's just so intense, and it does not give up, it does not stop, it does not let in. It just keeps beating you over the head, and you are lost in this hurricane of sound, and it's amazing. The first track flows so well into the second track. The spoken word ending to that track, and then just the way the second track just absolutely smacks you over the head. Did not expect that at all. Brilliant flow. Obviously the third track on the album is Satan in the Wait. This song is incredible. It's just incredible. I've already talked about it, but to me this is up there, or even better than songs, or a song like Daydreaming by Radiohead. And if you know me, Radiohead are my favourite band, and Moonshaped Pool is my third favourite album from them. I praised the hell out of that thing when it came out, and I said to myself that this album, A Moonshaped Pool, can't be beaten by anything that comes out in the future if it's not Radiohead. That's how biased I am towards Radiohead, basically. And I'm saying right now that this song is better than that song. And this isn't even the best song on the album, okay? I can't decide, okay? I just can't. They're all so great. Next song, The Flammable Man. This song is hellfire. This song is a car crash. This song is just fucking sound frenzy. That bass, that fiery bass, just comes out of nowhere. The screeching guitars all over the place. I don't even know how they make these sounds. Yet it sounds so well in the mix. The production is flawless. The vocals are performed. I'm lost for words. I'm doing this unscripted, as you can tell, because if I tried to write it all down, it would be like a 10,000 word essay. The next track, The Lord's Song, is not as intense as Flammable Man, but it does bring something new to the table, and I do love the repetition again, and just the performances are just so wild, and the drums, something I haven't touched upon yet. The drums are amazing, and they sound amazing. Just the performances, the creativity that they've shown on every single song here is brilliant. Next song, Less Sex, is a really subdued, sexy, dark song. And that's just the feeling I get from it. I love the really monotone singing in this song, and the drum beats are so minimal, so effective. Daughter is the next song, and with a song called Daughter, you'd expect something good, I suppose, since the band's called Daughters. I don't know, maybe that's just me. This song's just great. It's just so great. This song is a blues noise rock song. I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't know anyone could pull that off. I just didn't know. And the second half of this song, beautiful melodies, like Satan in the Wait, but not copied and pasted. Nothing like that. Still sounds fresh to my ears, but it's so bright, so blissful, against this really dark and aggressive dark album. And it just comes across so unsettling, but so beautiful, twisted, tortured, dark, scary, creepy. Just At this point, my mind was already blown, but like, I haven't finished yet. I have not finished yet. Next track on the album is The Reason They Hate Me. Such an incredible single. This was the second single released after Satan in the Way. So catchy, so ferocious. The guitar riff just gets stuck in your head and it does not leave. It does not leave. The guitar solo at the end is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Ow, that really hurt. This song is so aggressive yet so catchy. It just makes me smile. Like, I've been craving an album like this for so long, and it's gone beyond the craving. It's gone beyond my expectations of a phenomenal album. This album is so incredible that at the moment it's in my mind. It's in my top 5 somewhere all time. Okay, meaning that this album is the album of the decade for me. Meaning it's the best album of the past 10 years. And it could get better than that, because I know this album is a grower, like I've said. The vocal performances on The Reason They Hate Me are just wild. Just absolutely wild. And just the rhythm and the groove that gets going, it's just flat out hilarious how amazing the grooves are. The guitar playing, the melodies, the rhythm, the sound, everything. The lyrics are great as well. Great storytelling. I feel Alexis as a lyricist has actually improved. Not saying that he was a bad lyricist before on previous efforts, but on this album, definitely an improvement. And it's just something else to add to the table, really. Ocean Song is the next song. I believe this is the longest song on the album. Has a really nice drum beat to start off with. And this does stretch things out a bit more. I would say that less happens in this song. It's pretty effective considering how abrasive The Reason They Hate Me was. Personally, this is my least favourite song on the album, by a tad. Okay, by a tad. I'm not saying this song is bad, I'm not saying the song is good, I'm saying this song is fantastic. On a fantastic album. It's the worst song on a fantastic album. I love the throwbacks to the lyrics in previous songs that started in earlier in the album. Great, it's just great storytelling there. Kind of reminds me of the Downward Spiral, which is a point I will get onto. Last song, Guest House. This is my favourite track on the album. What? Just this song just absolutely pummels you in the head with just like a concrete brick over and over again until your head is like a bloody red cabbage. Just the repetition of the way it says knocking, let me in. Oh, so much symbolism, so many metaphors behind this, I'm sure. Just an amazing song. Guitars as well, drums flawless. And at the end there's a string section, and what sounds like to me, I might be wrong on this, what sounds like to me a trumpet or a saxophone section really quiet in the mix, and with the strings a little bit higher in the mix, so effective. Actually leaves this album on a brighter and lighter note, which is, how could they go from this creepy, unsettling, dark album to something as bright and blissful as this, with such a ferocious song as the last song? It leaves the listener kind of confused in a way, but I'm not complaining. I haven't complained at all about this album. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is nothing wrong with it. Absolutely flawless. Every single aspect I can possibly think of, I've dissected the hell out of this thing. I've listened to this thing on several headphones, through speakers, I've listened to it on my phone, I've looked up lyrics online, tried to decipher them myself, I've tried to decipher metaphors. There is nothing I can rip apart on this album. This album is a masterpiece, it is absolutely flawless, and it is the album of the decade. Right, on to my next point. I think this album is the modern day era version of the Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails. Some people may be like, it's nothing like Downward Spiral. And in my opinion, I do prefer the Downward Spiral as an album. That might be because of when it was released, but I feel like this feeling I get from listening to this album, and just the way the album sounds, the way it's constructed is just like the Downward Spiral. It does not give up on how dark it is at all, whatsoever, and I love that. I love myself a dark album, I love myself a depressing album, I love myself a heavy album, I love myself a groovy album, I love myself a plethora of just like colour, but also darkness, just bright guitars, fiery bass, booming drums, just... I've drank like 3 cups of coffee today. I need to, because there's just so much to say, and I can't praise this album enough. I cannot praise this album enough. It's definitely the best noise rock album I've ever heard. I'm questioning if it's the best rock album I've ever heard. Yes, the best rock album I've ever heard. Possibly. What is there to say? Daughters, props to you. A band that I didn't even know about a year ago, bursting onto my musical landscape with an album like this. And with previous albums like Hell Songs and the Self-Titled, they are great albums in their own right, but this is something else. This is something monstrous. This is something just flat out wonderful. Flat out wonderful. 10 out of 10. The highest 10 out of 10 I could possibly give, because this album has blown me away beyond expectation. And I have to get personal here. The album lyrically does connect with me loads. So it might just be a case of being the right album for the right person at the right time. But I know, as a well-experienced music listener, that all the performances and everything that they've shown on the album, disregarding the lyrics, are just absolutely amazing. So, with that said, this album is my personal favourite album of the past 10 years, and as it stands, I do not see an album beating it. Listen to this album. If you like industrial music, if you like metal, listen to this album. This album will blow you away. I hope it does. Leave what you think about the album in the comment section below. Just share this album around to people who might want to listen to this kind of music. Be open-minded. This band deserves more praise, they deserve more respect, because they are absolutely brilliant. Every single member in the band, absolutely brilliant. Nothing else left to say. Perfect 10 out of 10, masterpiece.